What happens when a juggernaut faces a struggling team? One of the greatest games in the franchise's history. Seriously. It was 19 years ago today, on August 22nd, 2006, that the New York Mets hosted the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mets were running away with the National League. Their 75-48 record was 9 games ahead of the second best in the league and 13.5 games ahead in the East Division. It wouldn't be a stretch to say they were World Series favorites. The Cardinals were in first place in the Central Division with a slim 2-game lead, as well as having the second best record in the National League. But don't let those fool you. They were in a weeks-long slump. After starting the season 42-26, they went 24-31 over their next 55 games. One big reason why they were still staying afloat? Albert Pujols. Perhaps the greatest player of the 21st century, Pujols was absolutely tearing up the ball. Entering this game, he was slashing .326 with a .429 on base and .674 slugging for a 1.104 OPS. He had 36 home runs, 98 RBIs, and was likely the MVP favorite at this point. However, not far behind Pujols was Mets center fielder Carlos Beltran. Entering this game, he was slashing .289 with a .390 on base and .626 slugging for a 1.016 OPS. He also had 35 home runs and 101 RBIs to his name. It was a late season battle between two first place teams, each with 2 MVP favorites. Getting to the game itself, on the mound for New York was rookie starter John Maine. A 3-3 record with a 2.68 ERA in 9 games on the year so far. That includes a sparkling 1.57 ERA across his last 6 games pitched. Maine made quick work of the Cardinals in the first, including a 3-pitch strikeout of Pujols to cap a 1-2-3 inning. Starting for St. Louis was veteran Jeff Weaver. 5-13 with a 6.07 ERA in 23 games on the season. I think those numbers speak for themselves. Weaver matched Maine, however, throwing a perfect frame, including a ground out by Carlos Beltran for the 3rd out. Still scoreless in the second, Carlos Delgado led off for New York with a liner that just cleared the wall for a home run. His 30th of the season and 399th career homer to give the Mets a 1-0 lead. Weaver settled down after the home run, working around a runner on base to escape the inning with only the 1 run scoring. Both pitchers remained sharp until the top of the 4th. A single and double put 2 runners on base for Albert Pujols, and you can probably guess what he did.
And he hits it to deep right center field. Forget it. What a shot by Pujols to the opposite field.
One swing of the bat to flip the score, putting the Cardinals ahead by 2 runs. No other runs would be scored here in the 4th, and St. Louis led 3-1 after 3.5. New York threatened in the bottom half, but Weaver worked around a couple of base runners to keep the Cardinals ahead. The top of the 5th inning would see the most action so far. First and foremost, following a leadoff single, Maine got bailed out by his defense.
Molina drills one to deep left field. Tucker won't get to this one, and it hops up against the fence. Belliard being waved around third. Here's the relay throw to the plate by Reyes. Loduca picks it up, makes the tag, got him!
I always love a good play at the plate. After the out there, Maine struck out Jeff Weaver for the 2nd out. 1 out away from ending the inning, Maine then coughs up back-to-back walks to load the bases. Pivotal at bat here. 5th inning, 3-1 game, the Cardinals have the bases loaded with 2 outs for the man of the hour, Albert Pujols. One swing here could blow the game wide open for the Cardinals, while retiring Pujols keeps the Mets in the game. On the 1-1 count, this is what happened.
It's at the deep left field. Back goes Tucker looking up, and it's out of here. A grand slam for Pujols. 7 RBIs in the last 2 innings for Albert. 7-1 St. Louis.
Make that 38 home runs and 105 RBIs. Perhaps the best performance of a potential MVP season. Shout out to anyone who watched this in attendance. Speaking of which, Maine would strike out the next batter to finish the inning, which would also be his last batter of the night. His final line: 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 7 earned runs. At least he struck out 5. To be fair, he did want to stay in.
Maine thought he might bat. No.
A 6-run cushion for Jeff Weaver and the Cardinals, you'd think that'd be enough. Weaver was pitching lights out, and St. Louis knocked out the opposing team starter. A much-needed victory as the season is winding down. Well, that's the magic of baseball. You just never know. In the bottom of the 5th, a walk, error, and single loaded the bases for New York with nobody out. As quickly as they were in a giant hole, were they on the brink of climbing out. At bat for them here was their MVP favorite, Carlos Beltran. Go figure. Unlike Pujols though, Beltran hit a slow tapper in front of the mound, where Weaver threw it home to get the force at the plate, the only out he could get. Alright, let's redo this. Bases loaded, 1 out, and at bat now is the man who drove in the only Mets run so far, Carlos Delgado. Hey, if Pujols could hit 2 home runs, one of them being a grand slam, why can't someone on the Mets do it? Delgado's shot earlier was the 399th of his career, so not only is this a perfect spot to get the Mets back in the game, it's a storybook moment for a massive milestone. Of course, that seems too good to be true.
And he goes with a deep right, that's gone! What a blast by Delgado! A grand slam! His 400th career home run!
I suppose fiction can be stranger than truth. With that grand slam, Delgado became the 42nd player in baseball history to hit 400 home runs, and he came back out of the dugout for a much-deserved curtain call. Getting back to the game, Weaver would finish the 5th inning without allowing another run, but he was also taken out after this inning. His final line: 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. In the top of the 6th, the Cardinals had a runner reach second base with 2 outs, but Guillermo Mota got Yadier Molina to ground out to third base to end the inning, with the score still intact. In the bottom half, the Mets struck again. Facing rookie pitcher Adam Wainwright, a single, walk, and sacrifice put 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. This time, it was the Cardinals defense that bailed out their pitcher.
Toward the middle, glove by Belliard, can he make a play? He does! Unbelievable play!
A run comes home to make it a 1-run game, but if that ball got by second baseman Ronnie Belliard, this game would have been tied. That grab and throw by Belliard would prove to be huge for the Cardinals, as the next batter, Paulo Duca, grounded out to strand the tying run at third. Maybe that run would have scored if there was only 1 out. Through 6 innings, the Cardinals were clinging to a 7-6 lead. In the top of the 7th, St. Louis threatened again. 2 walks put 2 runners on base with 1 out for Albert Pujols. Bidding for his 3rd homer of the game, reliever Chad Bradford induced a clutch double play to escape the jam without a run scoring. In the top of the 8th, same situation. The Cardinals had runners on first and second with 1 out, and Bradford induced another tailor-made double play to end the frame. Still 7-6 heading to the bottom of the 8th. In the bottom half, New York put the tying run on third base with 2 outs, but Braden Looper struck out Julio Franco for the 3rd out. St. Louis maintains their 1-run lead. In the top of the 9th, Aaron Heilman came on to pitch, and he threw a perfect 1-2-3 inning, striking out 2 batters. On to the bottom of the 9th, last chance for New York. In to save the game for St. Louis was their closer, Jason Isringhausen, but first, let's recap the game so far. The Cardinals jumped out to a huge lead, thanks to 2 moonshots by Albert Pujols. The Mets chipped away, first with a grand slam, and another RBI to make this a 1-run game. St. Louis desperately needs every win they could get to remain in first place, and so far here, they haven't faltered. The first batter of the frame, Jose Reyes, grounded out to second base. 1 quick out to start the 9th. Following Reyes was Paulo Duca. who lined a 1-1 pitch into center field for a single, tying run on first base with 1 out. Coming to the plate now was Carlos Beltran. Beltran has been kept in check so far, being 0 for 4 entering this at-bat. He had that golden chance back in the 5th, but failed to do anything. Here he steps up as the winning run. On Isringhausen's first pitch, Beltran ends it. A 2-run home run to walk off the Cardinals. New York scored 7 unanswered runs to win the ballgame 8-7. One of their greatest regular season comeback victories of all time. As for both clubs, they would, ironically, meet again in the National League Championship Series, where the Cardinals bested the Mets in 7 games. Even with the flip result in the end, this game served as a foreshadowing to that series. A close-knit, gritty battle between two first-place teams. 19 years ago today, it was the Mets who came out on top in thrilling fashion.